Well, hello, my friend. Thank you so much for jumping on with me. I was telling you that I first found out about your community and your NFT project out of all places, the Cardano Summit last year in Wyoming. And the guy that talked with me about your project for 2 straight days was the first person to ever mint a CryptoPunk. He used to own 1,000 CryptoPunks, and he just thought that CyberKongs was the evolution of what could be for a community-based, decentralized project as you brought to market. So it's fun to spend some time with you, get to know you a bit. Maybe you could share a bit about your personal story becoming the community manager and your role in the CyberKongs universe. Then we could talk a bit about, how did this happen for CyberKongs and where you're at today and what's to come?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I was happy we got to chat and that you told me that story, because I also said there's a lot of times we go to events and people don't know who the Kongs are. So yeah, I joined the community shortly after Mint. We minted actually March of 2021. So I joined the community in June. My path, I started end of 2020 into NFTs, was into the art side of things, fuck render, X copy, just art. I really still love the art scene. But my brother said, like, hey, we got to check out this CyberKongs. And I remembered seeing CyberKongs when they minted, and I didn't mint. And I checked it out. I was hooked. I loved the community, had awesome vibes, like just a family unit at a time where community was not what NFTs were sort of based around. So I was a holder, became a moderator, became community manager, and then eventually I'm one of the 9 members of the Council of Kongs, which is sort of it's our core team. We have other team members, but we're sort of, if you want to say, like, we help steer the ship in a very direct way. So happy to be here. We're going on 18 months of this project being alive and well. And I love being able to talk Kongs and be able to chat with people like you.
We talked before we got started about the attraction toward primates, right? So there's the ape CryptoPunks, right? There is CyberKongs was next. And then eventually Yuga Labs comes out with Bored Ape. And of course, there's been a lot of iterations. Has that been really helpful in terms of that connection? And how do you navigate? There's different expressions of these types of NFTs built around primates. And is that something that, you guys have kind of some thoughts on that you'd share with us?
Yeah. And I love, like, you recited the correct order of mint. A lot of times people think, because maybe we're not as loud. I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean we're sort of like the humble gorillas of Web3. We did come out before Bored Ape Yacht Club, and I think the reason our founder Mio created CyberKongs, which are sort of like a technologically advanced race species, but that are very in tune with nature. That's sort of the gist, if you want to call it, some of the lore behind it, and what the story is about at a very basic level. I think the idea is, like, we have a lot of people have a connection with primates. And so I think there's a reason why we like monkeys and we like gorillas. I think it just resonates with a lot of us. And from punks with their ape traits to CyberKongs with our sort of punkish, and not talking, about punks, but like we sort of have a punkish vibe to us, kind of that graffiti look, that pixel art. And then of course you've got, like apes like Bored Apes, which are a little bit more, they're a little more round, cartoonish. I don't mean that in a negative way, but I think we're drawn to gorillas, and we enjoy, like with our VX Kongs, it's a full-size gorilla, and actually in like the sandbox, they're larger than a human avatar. So it's cool to have like this big gorilla. So yeah, I think people are drawn to it. I think it's just fun to play with monkeys.
Can you share with us the importance of strategic partnerships? You mentioned the sandbox, and obviously being able to take your NFT and bring it into different metaverses is a great utility. And so can you share with us, like, how do you approach strategic partnerships? How about other metaverses that look at CyberKongs and go like, hey, can we play too? And give us some insight in terms of how, the Council of Kongs
yeah.
decide on these things.
Great question. So Fortunately, because of how long we've been in Web3, we get approached a lot. I don't want to say we don't have to go on the offensive as much. I mean, yes, there are times we may reach out to a project, but for the most part, we get approached because if you are a metaverse, of course, a lot of them are looking at the OG projects, especially established ones that already have a fully rigged, let's say in our case, our VXs, we have fully rigged FBX files. So you're not having to wait for somebody to develop an asset that's maybe interoperable in your metaverse. We already have them. So knowing that we're a little bit ahead of a lot of projects with our 3D assets, we sort of have, if you want to say, the luxury of being able to choose where do we want to be in. And we don't take that for granted. I don't ever want to come across like we have the luxury of doing this. It's not like that. We have a duty to our holders to make sure that the people we partner with, that we're aligned with as far as our ethos go, as long the quality of the project, because we want our VX Kongs to be in environments that match what we consider to be the quality of the art that they represent. So let's be real, like there's a lot of metaverses out there that I think people have thrown up rather quickly that maybe don't have the same level of detail, the same size teams. And then there's ones out there that have done a really good job. And so we have partnered with, places like the Sandbox and Web and Arcade. And I think that's a big part of CyberKongs is being interoperable within so many projects. Today, EtherOrcs is a new one that's being announced. We have our dungeon crawls we'll be able to do with them. It's a huge part of who we are. We don't want to build a metaverse. We want people to be able to take our asset and use it in your metaverse or in your game, as long as that meets a standard. And I guess to directly answer your question, yeah, we go back and forth. We look at the project. We have lots of meetings. And then ultimately we decide by a vote, hey, are we going to go in or not? Now, granted, if like our founder wants to do something, even if maybe the vote isn't in that favor, our founder Mio is wise, so we trust what he has to say.
How do you guys approach structure in terms of, you have the 9 of you that can make decisions? Obviously your founder has let's say the loudest voice in the room, and then
Sure.
There's 9 of you that will make decisions, but you're representing a decentralized community of partners and owners in basically this development of the Kong universe. So how do you navigate these waters? And are there ways that you're asking the community to give feedback before decisions are made? And are these things organic and they happen, or are they structured and really thought through?
Yeah, man, you have awesome questions, by the way. They're well thought out. So we deal with a lot of Web 2 companies, marketing, branding, et cetera. And they always are interested to structure, like, this is something that's new. There are times where I wish there was, when I say more structure, like, that we had like this C-level person and this C-level person, this C-level person. But what we're trying to do is something that isn't as defined at like a corporate level. And so, of course, Mio, our founder, it's his project. So while it is a decentralized space, and while we do value our community's opinion, ultimately, we never told anybody that they were joining a DAO. They bought an NFT. Ultimately, it is Mio's decision as to what direction the project goes. And when it comes to artistic decisions, always defaulted to Mio. We're fortunate to have Coco Bear, who is Coco Bear is just an amazing, intelligent Web3, I don't even know what you call him, legend, that's been in the space for a long time, big in Axes. And to me, when it comes to certain decisions, when it comes to operational, with this partner, that partner, I tend to go more towards Coco with those types of decisions. And then the rest of the council, some are more dev minded, some are more front facing. Like, I'm more front facing. I'm not going to put anything in a contract. The dev guys will give opinions on things, but they tend to not really get into the marketing side as much, just like I don't get into the dev side as much. So there are things that are definitely going to be like, Mio, where do you want to go? Mio is our founder. Mio, what do you want to do with this? And then if it's, business wise, always going to take something to Coco. And if it's something where, they don't feel like they have a hard yes or a hard no on something, then I think that's really where the council comes in and plays a big role in like, hey, what do we all think together? So I own a business in real life, and this structure is unlike anything. I've learned the things that I can do without talking to somebody about. I know now, like, okay, I'm totally comfortable doing this without bugging them about this. But of course, any, partnerships, things like that, that's always going to go before, the whole council to sort of present the information. It's weird and different.
Well, it feels like an evolution of how we make decisions as communities and as businesses. And a lot of organizations like CyberKongs are having to constantly consider pivots, even if pivots aren't made, because, okay, now DAOs are like a big thing. Okay, well, we are providing bananas as kind of as a, I don't know how you guys structure the legal term, but it's basically a benefit, a utility benefit.
Utility token.
Utility
token, our
Right.
fuel.
Yep. And so as these new things come to play, you have to decide, okay, well, how do we do this and stay true to the founders, stay true to our community, and continue to drive toward the major vision that we have for what the Conch, universe is and is becoming.
And one other thing, like we just put out within the last like 5 or 6 days, a vote to our community when we were looking to change how we were going to go about distributing whitelists and things like that. So there are definitely decisions that we will take to the community. But I think when it comes to, partnerships and things like that, it's so hard to take that to the community because, man, anybody in Web3 that's on a team knows there's just so much that goes into it. I don't want to say the less people involved, the better, but to then get the opinion of a project that isn't a DAO, it could get complicated, but there are certain things we do want to put, to the community to vote on.
Yeah, well, speed matters. So you guys have a structure built for speed, and peace matters. And you have a structure that doesn't constantly agitate a bunch of people that voted one direction and didn't go their way. So I think that there's reasons by which things have been structured the way they are, and the community should feel confident in the decisions that you guys make in that regard because of the 18 months of consistent faithfulness to the vision that you've had. And so I honor that. We talk about that internally. When CyberKongs comes up in private conversations, it's always been a really positive thing. So I think you guys have done something really admirable, and we're looking forward to having you come speak with us and the community at NFT.London. Any final kind of things that you'd like to encourage the community to look into? I think you mentioned you guys have a new video you just posted on YouTube or something of that nature. So any final thing you'd tell the community to kind of look out for or check out before we wrap up?
Yeah, check us out on our Twitter, CyberKongs. There's a Z at the end of CyberKongs. Lots of updates coming. Q3 and Q4. I keep saying it. I'm a broken record. This is where these updates, people are going to start to see what we've been working on. And I'm excited for it. So check us out on our Twitter, check us out in Discord, and come in the Discord. We are one of the most welcoming groups in Web3. Come in, hang with us. We love answering questions and just talking Web3 in general, and super excited to come to NFT.London and be able to rep the CyberKongs there.
Well, we are as well, and I can vouch for the Discord. I've always enjoyed my time playing in your guys' sandbox with your really rad community. So thanks again for being here with me, and I look forward to seeing you soon over in London, my friend.
Thank you.